Hello everyone, this is part 11 of What If Naruto Traveled Back in Time and Changed, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. 3 days later, Rebel base on Kombi Island. Mei Terumi was in her office reviewing the plans for the final assault on Kirigakure. Over the past few years, the rebels have managed to secure every island surrounding the main island of Kirigakure, and they have taken both southern forts. Fighting at the forts was usually fierce, but it had died down over the past 6 months. Yagura, after suffering so many losses, had turtled up in Kirigakure and was drawing out the conflict. Mei had the supply lines cut, and it was a matter of time until the blockade forced Yagura's hand. She had lost a couple ships to the fully transformed Jinchuriki in the waters near Kirigakure's northern edge, but the supply blockade had effectively isolated the remaining anti-bloodline forces. As she was sipping on some tea and enjoying her alone time, she was disturbed by a knock on her door. After hearing Ao's voice, she told him to invite the guests in, and she saw faces she hadn't seen in a long time. Faces she had kept an eye out for over the past couple years. Ah, Gozu and Mezu, long time no see. I was wondering when you would come to join the good fight. Who is your friend here? Mei asked in a silky sweet voice. Lady T Terumi, T this is Haku, a apprentice of Momoki Zabuza. Mezu answered, clearly scared despite the woman's overly sweet voice. Mei ed an eyebrow as the young girl nodded. Oh ho, and where is Zabuza? Did that idiot finally get himself killed? Ao snickered at Mei's comment. Haku took a hesitant step forward. Lady Terumi, I would like to know if you know a young man named Naruto Senju. Mei made a signal with her hand, and 3 guards appeared with blades at the necks of her 3 guests. Where did you hear that name, and how do you know he is associated with me? Haku held up her hands and tried to steady her voice to speak calmly. Zabuza ordered us and our crew to raid Wave Country to try and gain funds for another coup attempt. Haku was cut off by a flare of Mei's killing intent. You idiots did what? Mei screamed, truly enraged for the first time in a long time. Haku bowed her head. We stole from Wave, and Zabuza ordered us to go back for more, but a barrier emerged and covered the whole island. 2 days later, 2 teams of Konoha shinobi responded to an urgent request from Wave. They were led by Naruto Senju, who claimed the lands were under his protection, and he invoked the tradition of parley. Haku's words came out in a rapid-fire panic that belied her terror in the face of Mei's power. Mei sat back down in her seat with a scowl on her face. How did that idiot that up? He met Lord Senju for the parley, and he informed us on the state of the rebellion. Zabuza said he wouldn't listen to a brat and accepted a challenge to a duel to first blood and lost. He proceeded to attack Lord Senju after losing the duel until the boy was able to defeat him in single combat. Itachi Uchiha and Kakashi Hatake were also there and acknowledged the boy as the representative of Konoha for Wave Country. They stopped us from interfering in the duel. Haku explained in a rush, hoping to appease the enraged woman. Mei began massaging her temples, hoping that she wouldn't lose one of her greatest allies in the war effort. Anything else? What happened to Zabuza? Haku bowed before speaking again. The boy sealed Master Zabuza into a stasis scroll and gave me a letter to pass on to you. Haku then took the letter out of her pocket, and Ao snatched it out of her hands. After inspecting the letter, he handed it to Mei. The auburn-haired woman opened the scroll and read the message. Hey Mei, ran into this idiot in Wave. He is either too stupid or his skull was too thick to understand that we are allies. Know that I don't hold his actions against you, but I would appreciate it if you disciplined him a bit. He is in the stasis scroll, and I told Haku it would only open to your chakra signature, but that was a bluff. Bonk him over the head for me after you get him some medical attention. I have attached an incomplete communication scroll that will allow for instant communication between you and I. All you need to do is add blood and chakra to the bottom right-hand seal. Once active, write your message on the scroll and push chakra into the seal on the upper right-hand corner until it glows blue. If you see the seal on the back of the letter blinking red, it means you have a message from me. I hope everything is going well with the rebellion. I know you should have it wrapped up any day now. Be careful and don't die. I would very much like to keep you as my ally. If it is Yagura holding you up, let me know and I will create some biju suppression seals for you. Keep fighting the good fight. Naruto Senju. Mei smiled as she placed the letter back down on her desk. To rouse frustration, he was unable to read the letter due to some fuinjutsu protection or another. Mei scowled at him when she sensed his Byakugan was active. Ow. Turn that eye off or I will kill you. I have told you many times not to pry into my affairs, especially when Naruto is involved. Mei growled, which made Ao gulp and obey out of fear. She turned her gaze back to Haku. You and your crew will remain in the brig until I decide what to do with you. Your actions could have cost us a valuable ally. Mei unsealed the stasis scroll and an unconscious Zabuza fell onto the floor. Ow. Take this man to the medical bay. He is to remain in cuffs during his treatment. Inform him when he wakes up that I will be holding onto his sword until he proves himself worthy of wielding it once more. Update with the Neighborhood Watch. Naruto and Tsunade had been operating under the moniker of the Neighborhood Watch for several years now. They have done much good, issued warnings, provided assistance and acted as a faceless and benevolent organization that is out to help the world. Really, they don't have a spy network or that much power, they just have Naruto's memories from the past. They have used that knowledge as power and inspired fear and respect in the leaders of many nations. Their attempts to get a letter to Nagato have proven futile and the elemental post will no longer take letters into Am. After losing 2 of their postmen, nobody could blame them. Since the postman died, Naruto and Tsunade never knew if Nagato received their letters, but since they never received a response from him, they figured that he never read them. They decided to deal with Nagato and Am at a later date. Naruto had sent nearly semi-annual letters to Iwa, Kumo and a couple smaller shinobi villages. He used his knowledge from missions and revelations of his previous life to scare those leaders into heeding his words. It was a genius bluff that had paid off for the most part. He had never heard back from a minor nation, and only one cage was willing to sign the Uzumaki blood contract, but Naruto thought that he was still making a difference. After receiving multiple letters from the Faceless organization, each letter coming with a gift that helped to protect his village, decided to trust his benefactor. It confused why all of the seals he received were purely defensive in manner and could only really be used to protect his village, never take the offensive, but it all made sense after he picked Samui and Omoi up from Konoha. Samui immediately showed the Reikage the communication scroll, easily understanding the ramifications this could have if applied to shinobi operations. I saw similar handwriting and sealing that he had been seeing for the past couple years. Then, the kicker, I had a letter from the Neighborhood Watch waiting for him when he got back to Kumo. They thanked him for his participation in the exchange program and for not breaking the trust of either of his new allies. Then AI unsealed the Uzumaki blood contract, and the final piece fell into place for I. His intelligence department had informed him of the Senju family and their impact of Wave and Suna. Funnily enough, most of the impact was done through the efficient use of seals and skilled application of ninjutsu. Merchants sent to Wave and Suna reported seeing homes protected and improved with seals that improved everyone's quality of life. He had received seals that improved everyone's quality of life and that protected his village. Seeing the Uzumaki name, knowing them to be the cousins of the Senju, let I piece everything together and sign the blood contract without much hesitation. That left him with this message. Lord Reikage, I am glad that I can finally share my Idini with you. I am Naruto Senju Uzumaki, and I am sure that you met me when you stopped by Konoha. Samui and Omoi are great shinobi and I instructed each of them to the best of my ability, since our academy standards have fallen so far. Feel free to test them, I am sure they will be the best in their generation. I invite you to join me for a CrossFit training session during the Chunin exams, and it would be great if your brother B could join us. Anyway, I will continue to be your ally and I will continue to help Kumo. If you ask me why, I will tell you that I am barred from disclosing that information by a contract more powerful than the one you just signed. I simply ask you to trust me, at least until we can meet and speak at the Chunin exams. All that being said, the serious message I have for you is that the Akatsuki will start moving soon. Make sure to clean out your council and protect your Jinchuriki. I recommend liberal use of the truth seals during routine screenings. As of now, I have been able to use the Neighborhood Watch to help prepare each village as best I can. I cannot understate how dire a threat they are. I hope to see you soon enough. Naruto Senju Uzumaki, Konoha head of Neighborhood Watch. P.S. If your intelligence department hasn't acquired Senju clothing yet, I highly recommend that you get some for yourself and your kunoiki. I have applied multiple seals to that clothing line that will make them happy and protect them from the S of the earth. PSS I know you are a busy man, but Mabui is absolute fire, and she has a thing for you. Don't forget to appreciate the small things in life. Today, I sat in his office looking at the message from Konoha that had recently been delivered. It was the invite to the Chunin exams, and he knew he wanted to send a couple teams. It would be the first time since the Hyuga incident, but enough time had passed, and Kumo had made amends. Making his decision, he called Mabui, the silver-haired beauty, into his office. Mabui, please bring me Darui, Yugito and B. Back in Konoha, one day after leaving Wave. Hiruzen leaned back into his chair after listening to the mission report from Naruto, Itachi and Kakashi. The other genin were dismissed and Hiruzen was mulling over the implications of what Naruto just shared with him. Naruto, do you understand what could happen if it was discovered that Konoha was providing aid to rebel forces of a foreign nation? Hiruzen sighed out while rubbing his temples. Do you understand that I never once associated the aid I sent with Konoha? Never once did I ask for anything back or anything that would benefit Konoha. I simply did what was right under the Senju name and I will continue doing so. Naruto retorted passionately. Naruto, it isn't that simple. The Senju clan is directly connected to Konoha. Hiruzen countered. Not for the past 7 years it hasn't been, old man. It is well known throughout the nations that we have been in Suna and Wave. I acted as the Lord Protectorate of Wave and sent aid. If Konoha doesn't want another ally, then that's your call. Damn it, Naruto, why are you so insistent on helping foreign nations when you don't do the same for your own village? Hiruzen's weariness turned into frustration as he asked the question. Itachi and Kakashi squirmed uncomfortably as they were thrown in the middle of the argument between their Hokage and Naruto. I have sold my seals to Konoha just the same as the other villages. If the stupid council wasn't so proud and stingy, you already would have received the security upgrades. Once Konoha regains my trust, I will share Uzumaki clan Fuinjutsu levels 1 through 5. I am not being unfair, I am simply securing my clan's future. Naruto's tone began to rise for the first time in the exchange. Well, I have heard that seals matching the Uzumaki protection seals have popped up in Iwa and Kumo. Did they pay for them? Hiruzen showed one of his cards and the source of his frustration. Naruto took the implications with a grain of salt and didn't let it show on his face. Look, what I do with my clan's knowledge is my business. I am building trust and allies I thought I may need to protect me from my own damned village and the enemies out there that hate me for who I am. That is not how this works. You cannot act independently of your Hokage. Hiruzen shouted. I have not shared anything since my swearing in as a genin. As for my actions prior to returning to Konoha, I have the approval of Uncle Kinji. If you wish to debate this further, take it up with him because I am tired of being yelled at for making the world a better place. Naruto shouted. Hiruzen didn't realize that he was standing up and leaning over his desk. He took a deep breath and sank back into his seat. Somehow this child always knew exactly how to press his buttons. Fine, I will drop this for now, but the council is quite upset with you helping our adversaries. What are these communication scrolls that you are using that Itachi informed me about? They are instant communication scrolls that are linked between two chakra signatures. You can write and receive messages and there is no maximum distance. It is the culmination of one of my projects. Naruto answered. Hiruzen leaned forward as the implications raced through his mind. What would it take to get these for Konoha? $1,000 per scroll pair, blood and chakra of the parties you wish to be linked and a formal request to the Senju clan. Naruto answered matter-of-factly. $1,000. That is extortion. An explosive tag cost $40 to $50. Kakashi exclaimed. Naruto cast a sidelong glance at him. And I have proprietary rights to the technology. I need 2 hours to draw the seal matrices and I also need to link the chakra signatures. That is enough, Kakashi. For something this valuable it is more than worth the price. How long would it take you to make 100 scroll pairs? The Hokage asked. About a week. Naruto answered. Temari requests, on behalf of her father, that a communication pairing be made between you and the Kazekage. So, you have already given her a communication scroll? Hiruzen asked with a red eyebrow. Yes, after graduation I gave Temari and Samui a scroll each. They were my test. I have also given scrolls to the representatives of Wave as well. Wave has requested you respect me as their liaison, for obvious reasons. Naruto answered. See what I mean? You go off on your own and negotiate with foreign nations. Hiruzen said, completely exasperated at this point. To be fair, Wave is my home away from home. Momo or I are the only realistic liaisons. Naruto shot back in a neutral tone. Very well, I will get the council to approve the request for the communication scrolls. We will also address the security updates as well. That is all I have for now, you may leave, Naruto. Itachi, please stay. Naruto and Kakashi disappeared from the Hokage's office in various shunshuns. Hiruzen turned his gaze on Itachi. Report, Itachi. Hiruzen said firmly. Itachi smiled at the old man. Lord Hokage, the kid is amazing, and I do not see why you make this more difficult than it needs to be. He will be loyal to the village if the village proves worthy of his loyalty. You only need look at what he has done for Suna and Wave to see that. Then why is he so resistant in helping to maintain Konoha's supremacy? Hiruzen shouted before covering his mouth, realizing his slip-up. Itachi frowned and edged an eyebrow. Maybe because he doesn't want supremacy, but a world that works together. Look at all of the seals he has created and shared. They are all defensive in nature and the ones he sells literally make the world a better place. That is naivety, Itachi. I would expect better from my successor. Hiruzen countered. You claim to extol the virtues of the Wall of Fire, a philosophy created by the first Hokage. When Hashirama subdued the 9 Biju and had them under his control, what did he do? Did he claim them as property of Konoha and use them to put the other nations under our foot? No, he shared them in hopes of equalizing the balance of power. And look how that worked out for him. We have had 3 great wars since then. One of those wars claimed his life. Hiruzen shot back. The Wall of Fire is the belief that the next generation is the future of any village. The belief that the next generation will be better than the last. I believe the world wasn't ready to come together at that point, and I admit that Hashirama was naive. You don't give foreign powers weapons and expect them not to abuse that power. Itachi explained in a calm monotone. You are making my point for me. Hiruzen pointed out. Yes, but Naruto isn't giving weapons. He is providing them with a sense of security, building trust and making everyone's life just a little bit better. If Lord Hashirama had taken that approach instead of handing out weapons of mass destruction, then the 3 wars probably wouldn't have occurred. Itachi finished his explanation and train of thought. Itachi, you are going to be my successor and we will announce it at the Chunin exams. I cannot afford to have you carry on these naive beliefs. You need to see the world for what it is or Konoha will fall. Hiruzen said wearily. I recently watched a child defeat a so-called demon with ease. I have watched said child instruct his peers and prepare them for conflict in a way that no genin has been prepared before. I pity the first person to truly break his trust, Lord Hokage. Don't let that person be you. Itachi cautioned. Seeing the Hokage had nothing more to say, Itachi asked a question. Lord Hokage, why has Lord Jiraiya not returned yet? The boy can now freely go into Sage mode, and it bears a striking resemblance to the first Sage mode. Hiruzen looked relieved by the change of topic. I called him back, but he said the neighborhood watch told him that Orochimaru was up to no good in Rice Country. He went to investigate, but he should be back around the Chunin exams. It can't be helped then. The Crow boss was heavily intrigued that a child could master Senjutsu without instruction from a sage or summoned animals. The Crows are a minor clan, but Kario said he would be reaching out to the other summons. Have you told Enma about it? Itachi asked. Yes, he said he hasn't heard of such a thing since Hashirama. Maybe it is because Mokuton is so intertwined with natural energy. Regardless, I cannot afford to pull Jiraiya off Orochimaru for this matter alone. 1 week later, a trip to the desert. Naruto was relaxing with Ino in the Senju Gardens after an evening training session. She had been spending more and more time with Naruto after everyone left. She had developed into a beautiful young woman and had the makings of a fine kunoichi. She was laying back into Naruto's chest as the two reminisced about the spar she recently won. Flashback, 2 days ago. The rookie teams were called together for a joint training session and Team 7 was included. Before the training began, Kakashi announced that there would be a spar between Ino and Sasuke. Ino began panicking, not wanting to fight against her former crush and not believing that she could win. Of course, Naruto was there to comfort her and build her confidence up. After a couple minutes of private counseling by Naruto, Ino emerged from the tree line and looked determined to win the spar against her former crush. She took her position across from a smirking Sasuke that looked like he wasn't planning on taking this spar seriously. Ino pig, why are you even fighting Sasuke? He will just destroy you. It would be better if you gave up on the spar and on that blonde idiot. Sakura shrieked. Ino scowled and glared at her pink-haired banshee of a friend. Shut it, billboard brow. Unlike you, I have actually worked hard to improve myself. And if you call Naruto an idiot again, I will break your nose so that not even Tsunade can make it look pretty again. Ino cast a glance at Naruto and got a wink out of him. Sakura shrank back at the glare and threat. Itachi stepped forward. That is enough, girls. The rules for this spar are no killing or maiming techniques. I will interfere if this rule is broken or if one of you is in mortal danger. Ready. Begin. The rookie genin watched on with interest as Ino engaged in a stare-off with Sasuke. You might as well give up, Blondie. You may have gotten stronger under Naruto, but only an Uchiha can beat an Uchiha once the Sharingan is awakened. Sasuke sneered condescendingly. Ino blurred forward with mid-chunin speeds at Sasuke and engaged him in taijutsu. In between blows, Ino was forming hand seals, out of view of Sasuke's Sharingan. Sasuke was winning the taijutsu exchange, due in large part to the precognition that the Sharingan granted him. Despite taking a couple hits, Ino maintained her attack and game plan until Sasuke landed a spinning kick on her chest after dodging one of her attacks. Sasuke maintained the offensive and had a clear advantage for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the fight. Sakura was cheering him on the whole time while teams 8 and 10 watched on with worry. She hadn't taken any severe damage yet, but she needed to break the status quo of this fight. Ino took another hard punch to her chest and rolled with the blow to create a little space between her and her opponent. Ino recovered from the blow and looked up in time to dodge a downward punch from Sasuke. With an open palm, she placed her hand on Sasuke's chest and forced her chakra into his system while calling out, Yamanaka Kinjutsu, sensory deprivation. Sasuke began lashing out in a blind rage as his world went hazy and he couldn't hear or feel properly. Ino's jutsu was messing with his senses and it rattled him. Her father had mastered the jutsu to the point that he could completely cut off all 5 senses, but Ino wasn't on his level yet. Ino regained herself and let Sasuke burn himself out by lashing out blindly. Seeing an opening, she sped forward and landed a hard punch on Sasuke's jaw, forcing his head down and making him scream out in pain. With practiced ease, she grabbed Sasuke's head and planted her knee into his chin. Sasuke crumpled to the ground, completely out as he entered a forced sleep due to a glass jaw. Naruto ran over to Ino and scooped her into a victory hug and twirled her around. Ino enjoyed the attention her love interest was giving her, and she watched as Sakura fretted over the unconscious Uchiha. Ino leaned into the hug as the rookie teams watched the spectacle with pride. Despite their advanced training, nobody expected her to defeat Sasuke, especially since he had awakened his Sharingan. It served as a powerful moral boost for the genin teams that struggled through Naruto, Guy and Itachi's crazy torture, training sessions. End of flashback. Ino was giggling profusely as they discussed the fight yet again and remembered the soul-shattered look on Kakashi's face. He had been forced to immediately change into Guy's old outfit and he wore it until the morning training session the next day. Watching Lee and Guy comment on how youthful Kakashi looked was worth every bit of pain that Ino endured during the spar. It was even funnier when Guy pointed with an exaggerated thumb towards his own chest and told Kakashi that his flames had already evolved from the jumpsuit level to the super suave level. You know, Ruto, next time you want to use me in one of your schemes, maybe you could let me know ahead of time. Ino said playfully as she trapped Naruto's hand under her bust. To be fair, I didn't know Kakashi was going to choose you. We made that bet in Wave and he was given the power of choice. I am proud of you though. He said as he placed AK on the top of her head and tried to free his hand from her grasp and tickle her. Ino leaned back into him contentedly after preventing his hand's escape and closed her eyes before she whispered, "What did I do to deserve you?" Naruto smiled into the back of her head. "You were you. You make my life better every time you are near me. Your happiness makes me happy." Before the lovebirds could continue the youthful affections, Naruto sensed an Anbu at the Senju gate. He stood up and took Ino's hand in his. They went to see what the impromptu visit was about, and Naruto was told he needed to report to the Hokage's office. After giving Ino a goodbye, Naruto used Shunshin to report to the Hokage's office. Itachi was waiting for Naruto outside of the Hokage's office. Once he arrived, he entered alongside his blonde charge. They both bowed respectfully to the old monkey and waited for him to inform them of the reason for their required presence. Itachi and Naruto, thank you for coming so quickly. Naruto, teammate is being assigned the diplomatic mission to Sunagakure. You have the communication scroll we prepared. Naruto nodded. Very good, teammate will take that scroll and the invite to the Chunin exams to Sunagakure. You will remain there until the Kazekage informs you who he will send to participate in these exams. Any questions? No, Lord Hokage. Itachi responded. You will know when the scroll is activated by the red blinking seal, old man. Don't freak out, Naruto added before he left the Hokage's office with Itachi. Please let Hinata and Shino know that we will leave tomorrow at 8 a.m. Itachi requested. Sure thing, sensei, Naruto responded. 10 minutes later, Naruto arrived at the Hyuga front gates. He was granted entry by the gate guards and taken to Hyashi's office. The Stoic clan head was reviewing paperwork and Hinata was at a desk positioned next to her father's since she had been helping run clan affairs. Naruto, it is good to see you again. What brings you to our compound? Hyashi asked. Naruto bowed respectfully to Hyashi. I have come to inform Hinata that we have a diplomatic mission to Suna tomorrow. We will leave at 8 a.m. Expect a 2-week mission. Bandits have been popping up at the Oasis stops in Wind Country, so be ready for a fight. Make sure to bring plenty of arrows. Naruto had turned to address Hinata, and he smiled as the girl blushed. Thank you, Naruto. I will be sure to be properly stocked. Hinata said, playing with the sealing bracelet that Naruto gave her. Hyashi looked with interest at his daughter. Hinata, how effective are the bow and seals that Naruto has shared with you? Hinata inclined her head respectfully to her father. Very effective, father. Archery came naturally to me, and the sealed arrows diversify my combat ability and increase my combat effectiveness exponentially. Hyashi nodded and turned his head to Naruto. I am most grateful for your assistance in Hinata's training. Her progress was most unexpected and welcome. When you return, perhaps you could demonstrate your seals. Since the Hyuga clan is still recovering, it may be time to incorporate some changes. We could set something up, Lord Hyuga. However, I would be prouder of her progress in the medical arts than combat. It is very refreshing having a capable medic on the team. Tsunade always praises Hinata for her medical prowess. Naruto said with pride tinging his voice. Hinata was blushing furiously and refused to make eye contact with Naruto or her father. Is this true, Hinata? Hyashi asked with a pleased smile. Why yes father. Lady Tsunade said that she would take me on as her apprentice when I make Chunin. Hinata answered, eventually overcoming her embarrassment. That is good to hear. You honor the Hyuga clan with your actions. Hyashi responded. Okay, well I will let you get back to your work. I just wanted to let you know about the mission. Naruto chirped before disappearing in a water shunshin. That boy is something else. Have you made any progress in your affections for him? Hyashi asked. Hinata blushed tomato red. Father, Naruto and I are just friends. He sees me as a little sister and wishes to help me. Hyashi frowned at that. Would he refuse an offer for arranged marriage? He has gone out of his way repeatedly to help our clan after all. Hinata nodded sadly. Yes, father. I believe he is dating the Yamanaka heiress. He also has a strong relationship with Subaku no Temari, the Kazekage's daughter. Yes, father, Hinata answered sadly. Very well, we won't push. You are growing into a beautiful young woman. Sooner or later, he will come to see that. Hyashi said while patting her shoulder with a resigned smile on his face. The next day, Team 8 left the gates in the early morning and headed out toward Suna. It was a 3-day journey to get to Sunagakure, and they would be moving at shinobi pace after a light workout each morning according to Itachi-sensei. After an equipment check, which consisted of Itachi checking all of their sealing scrolls, he signed the group out from the front gate. As he was leaving, Kotetsu chirped at him. "Oi, Naruto, say hello to your blonde girlfriend for me." Naruto scowled and saw Hinata's sad face as he turned to address the eternal gate guard. "Oi, Kotetsu, enjoy guard duty and napping. When I get back, I will be sure to tell the Hokage that you volunteered for gate duty until after the Chunin exams." Before the Chunin could respond, Itachi shook his head with a mischievous grin and directed his team onto the shinobi highway, aka the treetops. The group made good time for their first day and stopped at the border town on the edge of the Land of Fire, before entering river country. After dinner and an evening workout, Naruto sent Temari a message through the scroll letting her know they would be there in 2 days. He also reaffirmed his promise to her that he would explain everything, which made the blonde Suna Kunoiki screech in excitement. The trip through river country was no problem, seeing as the country had moved into allied status with Suna and Konoha due to the increased profits from the expanded trade routes. Since river country shared over 90% of their borders with the lands of wind and fire, it made sense for the daimyo to push for a full allied status. This was another change that Naruto noted to the timeline, but he couldn't think of any ramifications for this change. They stopped the second night at the desert's edge and got prepared for the trek through the hot and sandy environment of wind country. Itachi took an hour in the early morning to instruct his team in the chakra control exercise of sand walking. It used chakra to bind the surface granules of sand together so that one didn't sink every step they took. Naruto helped train his teammates on this, and while they were learning, he applied the temperature control seals to their jackets. He also pulled 2 turbines out of his scroll with similar seals on them and gave them to Hinata and Shino. All in all, it made the trek through the desert 100 times more bearable. At the second Oasis rest stop, Naruto sensed trouble from a kilometer out. He informed Itachi and the team approached the rest stop with caution. The team surrounded the small building that was erected near the Oasis and saw 3 camels and a small wagon with the crest of the wind daimyo on it. There were 8 thugs standing guard around the building, and they could hear screams of an older woman coming from inside the building. Using hand signs, Itachi passed a message to his team. "Hold, Naruto. Any ninja." Naruto closed his eyes and focused on spreading his senses. A light layer of his chakra enveloped the rest area, and he felt 2 developed chakra signatures. From this distance, he estimated mid-Chunin to Jonin level. He opened his eyes and signaled to his team, 12. Total, 2 ninja. Chunin to Jonin, 4 enemy. In-house, 6 civilian. Itachi sucked his teeth as he thought of the best approach. He saw Hinata was nervous, and Shino was barely restraining himself from launching his hive of bugs in to save the distressed females. Their screams were horrific to listen to, and the Aburame Arab horde rape. A couple months ago, 2 of his cousins were brutally raped and left for dead by Iwa ninja belonging to the Kamizura clan. Luckily, one of Jiraiya's spies saved them and got them back to Konoha. Itachi made up his mind and signaled to his team. Shino, bugs, distraction. Hinata, bow, eliminate. Naruto, I, infiltrate, kill, all. Naruto and Shino signaled back immediately, confirming their orders. Itachi saw that Hinata's Byakugan was activated, and he could only guess what horrifying scene she saw playing out inside. Itachi saw the hesitation in Hinata's posture before she firmed her resolve and responded in the affirmative. Shino sent out as many of his Kikaichu under the sand as his body could afford. It wasn't uncommon for bugs to be near the oasis in the desert. As the hives burst out of the ground around the building, the 8 guards began screaming in horror as the bugs began eating them alive. The guards shouted, "Bugs," and began running toward the water of the oasis in an attempt to escape the wrath of the insect swarm. 2 of the lower-rank shinobi opened the door to investigate what was going on and caught arrows through their eye sockets for their trouble. As soon as the distraction began, Naruto and Itachi darted forward to close the distance to the building. As the thugs opened the door, Itachi saw the arrows impact the enemies' heads, and he didn't hesitate to force his way into the door, shortly followed by Naruto. His Sharingan let him process everything at lightning speed, and he immediately dashed for the man that had shredded the clothes of the female girl. Naruto, following shortly after Itachi, saw the mark that Itachi left for him. The man was still buried inside a woman in her early 20s and his hands were holding her tied hands over her head on the couch that was provided in the rest area. Without hesitating, Naruto blurred forward and kicked the rapist through 2 walls of the rest area, leaving a sizable hole in the shelter. He created a shadow clone without using hand seals that stood protectively above the woman before he dashed through the hole in the wall. He saw the man recovering and stumbling slightly as he stood to his feet. His pants were still down around his ankles and Naruto's kick had left him in a dazed state. Kurama was working to hold back his chakra as Naruto's elevated rage pulled subconsciously on his power. With the help of Yosuke, Rias and Hikari, they were able to stem the flow of the potent chakra, but Naruto was still enraged. He unsealed 4 kunai from his wrist brace, coated them in wind chakra, and launched them at the man that was stumbling to his feet. The kunai went straight through the man's elbow joints as well as both of his shins. Naruto stalked forward with an evil grin on his face as his eyes flickered red. The rapist cried out in pain but forgot his pain when he saw the flickering demonic eyes of the Konoha shinobi stalking towards him. As the man struggled to crawl away with his mangled limbs, Naruto knocked him unconscious with a blow to the back of his neck. Itachi had easily neutralized his designated opponent and immediately moved to support Hinata and Shino. Shino's Kikaichu had killed 3 of the 8 outer guards while Hinata had killed 2 more with well-placed arrows. There were 3 thugs hiding in the Oasis in an attempt to escape the painful pincers of Shino's Kikaichu. Hinata and Shino had already surrounded the small pond when Itachi walked up. Your choice is simple, I only need one of you alive to talk. The other 2 will die. Who chooses to live? Itachi said in a monotone voice with his hands resting behind his back. Itachi used this posture to forcibly calm himself down and restrain his rage. One of the thugs swam to the edge of the pond raising his hands in surrender and volunteering himself. The other 2 thugs were shooting looks of betrayal at him as they attempted to figure a way out of this mess. Itachi didn't give the 2 time to think, he appeared in a shunshin on top of the water, bent down and grabbed the 2 by the collars of their shirts. He tossed them unceremoniously out of the oasis, not wanting to dirty the life-giving water with their blood. Before they impacted on the surrounding sands, they were engulfed in a massive fireball. Their screams lasted only a second before their bodies crumpled to ash. Back with Naruto. Sensei, I will ask your approval first, but I have a special punishment for this SMY rapist. Shino, it involves you and you are free to opt out. Naruto finished by looking directly into Shino's shades. Shino pushed his glasses further up onto the bridge of his nose. That will not be necessary, Naruto. What did you have in mind? Otoni was having a bad day. He was tasked with kidnapping the daimyos, the wind daimyos, niece as punishment for refusing to negotiate with Otogakure. He had killed her guards with ease, and he was in the process of extracting some pleasure from this miserable desert when his fun was interrupted. Now, his mind ached as a migraine sent piercing pain through his head, disrupting his thoughts. He felt a splash of water and a hard slap to his face. Ah, what the? Stop. That hurts. Otoni screamed. Naruto snarled down at the ninja. Oh, you think that hurts? What about the woman you were raping? Get over yourself, you little. Naruto finished with an extra hard slap to the man's cheek. Otoni sputtered as his vision began clearing up and he processed his situation. He couldn't move his body and he was in a lot of pain. He was surrounded by what looked like a genin team from Konoha. What the do you leaf bastards want? Naruto held up the Hishiate with the music note symbol on it. I want you to tell me what village you are working for and who told you to kidnap the daimyo's niece. Otoni spit blood at Naruto, who simply leaned aside and let the projectile sail over his shoulder. Go yourself. Shino, if you please, go with the new breed. Naruto said before returning his attention to Otoni. Look, rapist, this here is an aberrame. That little bug on his finger is going to eat you from the inside out. To make it more fun, I have applied an enhanced sensitivity seal to you. To make his point, Naruto slapped him again. You can either die screaming in pain, or I can end you with one stroke. The choice is up to you. Naruto finished calmly. Naruto made a motion with his hand and Shino set the red Kikaichu, which was about twice the size of his normal hive, into the wound on the man's elbow. Otoni began screaming in pain as the cubified Kikaichu began devouring the flesh of his left arm. After a minute, Shino ordered his bug to halt and left Otoni in a panting and sobbing mess. Stop, stop, please stop. I will talk. Naruto made a hand gesture saying to get on with it. I work for Otogakure, the hidden village in the land of rice paddies. Our leader ordered us to capture the Wind Daimyo's niece. Hinata had to walk away from the brutal interrogation, and she retreated to the rest stop for a reprieve from the screaming. And who is your leader? Itachi asked in his usual monotone. The man hesitated to answer, which earned him another minute of being eaten alive by the Kikaichu. All right, stop, Kami, please stop. It is Orochimaru. Our cage is Orochimaru. Why did he order you to capture the daimyo's niece? Itachi followed up. I don't know. The daimyo refused to work with him. That's all I know, I swear. Otoni was break down crying as the pain from his wounds occupied his senses. Where is Otogakure? Naruto asked, hoping he may get an answer in this lifetime. It isn't a village. It is a series of underground bases. I only know where my base was located. Otoni answered instantly this time. Where is that? Itachi asked, taking control once again. Near Paddy Village, a quarter-mile to the west. Look for the twin rocks with a genjutsu covering a metal hatch. Otoni answered, pleading for a merciful death at this point. Shino, let your bugs feast, but make it quick. Itachi stood from his crouched position and looked dispassionately down at the humaness in front of him. The trio walked back toward the rest stop while Otoni's screams filled the desert air. Everything went silent just before they entered the shelter. Each genin of Team 8 felt their adrenaline fade and then their mouths turned sour. To the side of the building, 3 genin were puking the guts out. Naruto because he had never tortured anyone before, and it was gruesome. Hinata and Shino because those were their first kills and it finally caught up to them as their adrenaline faded. Itachi made a note to pull his team aside and address how to properly deal with the weight of a first kill. After checking to make sure the women received basic medical attention, Naruto took out his communication scroll and wrote a message to Temari. Hey beautiful. Ran into trouble arrest stop 33. Wind Daimyo's niece rescued from Oto ninjas. Multiple rape victims, requesting medical team. Will take direct route to Suna, meet us on the way. Send message to Hoto that his niece is okay. Yours, Naruto. Naruto pocketed his communication scroll and returned his attention to the group. Hinata was applying some medical salves to the women that were raped. Luckily it was only the attendants that caught the worst of it. Naruto cautiously approached the sobbing teenage girl that he recognized from pictures. Heya, princess, I have some new clothes for you if you need them. Are you okay? He said in a gentle voice. She looked up through teary and weary eyes at met Naruto's azure blues. You are Naruto Senju. Uncle Hoto talks about you all the time. Naruto noticed that life was returning to her eyes a bit as he distracted her. Oh yeah, what's that old man want with me? I haven't seen him since my 10th birthday. A flicker of irritation crossed her face. He told me that I need to marry you for the good of Wind Country. It is all he ever talks about. As if realizing she overshared, she blushed and looked away abashedly. Naruto chuckled but spoke in a tone that kept the conversation between them. Yes, I know. He has sent more than a few marriage proposals to my grandmother. No offense, I don't need old people choosing who I am going to be with for the rest of my life. I forgot to catch your name though. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck abashedly and offered the princess a copy of his jacket to cover her modesty. It's Kirmi, the first princess of the Land of Wind, she said proudly as she accepted the offered jacket and covered her ripped top. Why didn't you even agree to meet me? Then you could have decided for yourself if I was marriage material instead of leaving it to the old farts. Naruto chuckled, well, Princess Kirmi, I didn't want to put you in that awkward situation and I kind of already have a girlfriend. I have loved her since I was a little kid. Kirmi ed an eyebrow, life and confidence fully returned by the playful conversation with the handsome blonde. Oh ho, and who is the lucky lady? Subaku no Temari, Naruto answered calmly. Kirmi frowned at that, you would choose that tomboy over a princess like me. Naruto smiled genuinely, every day of the week. That tomboy is the shell for a soft, genuine and amazing girl. I am not dismissing your beauty or worth, but I have loved Temari since I was 6. Kirmi's frown deepened as the unfamiliar feeling of jealousy swept over her. Itachi pulled Naruto away from the conversation and informed him that they would be moving out soon. Naruto let him know that Suna should be sending a protective and medical detail. Itachi put Naruto on point, since he knew the desert better. After burning the bodies and sealing the heads of the two Oto shinobi, Naruto led his team and the princess entourage toward Suna. After traveling at a slow pace for 3 hours, 2 teams of Suna shinobi landed near Team 8 and one of the blonde kunoichi darted over to Naruto and tackled him onto the desert sands. Playful and flirtatious laughs reached everyone's ears as the pair tumbled around in the desert sands. A man with half his face covered by a sand veil stepped forward and talked to Itachi. The second Suna team began inspecting the women of the group and ensuring the safety of the daimyo's niece. Kiyomi watched Naruto roll in the sand with Temari with more than a little jealousy on her face. Every girl in Wind Country wanted him after all of the good he had done for Suna's people, and now she wanted him too. Now that he wasn't just a name coming out of her greedy uncle's mouth, she really wanted him. She stomped over to the flirting and sand-covered duo and stood over them. Ahem, she said in a very fake attempt at clearing her throat. Naruto looked up with his back pinned to the sand and flashed a smile. How can we help you, princess? Kiyomi blushed and Temari barely suppressed a scowl. In a proper Sunda tone, Kiyomi responded, are you not supposed to be protecting me? You should be grateful that I accept a foreigner as my guard. Yet, you flirt shamelessly with another woman right in front of me. Temari shot a confused look at Naruto, who shrugged innocently before reversing their positions and pulling a squealing Temari up by her waist. As the flirtatious banter continued, Kayama adopted a pouty posture and started tapping her foot on the sand. Temari made a show of ignoring the spoiled princess and leaned into Naruto before planting a fiery K on his lips. This caused Kiyomi to HMPH. In frustration and jealousy. Sadly, it also nearly drove Hinata to tears. The Hyuga heiress didn't understand why Temari got the man she wanted. She also had conflicting feelings because she felt like Naruto was cheating on Ino, one of her good friends. She knew she was missing something, but she didn't know what, and jealousy filled that void very quickly. Naruto felt her sadness leaking off her and ceased the playful flirtation, casting a careful glance at Hinata. Across the dune, back where the Suna teams originally landed, Gaara watched stoically as his best friend got reunited with his sister. It was a great feeling for Gaara to see such a thing, but it made him feel like he was missing something in his life. As that thought flitted across his mind, he noticed something sparkling amongst the dunes. A single glittering tear had caught the sunlight and garnered Gaara's attention as the beautiful Hyuga heiress cried over the rejection of her feelings. Gaara had a heart-stopping moment as his heartbeat one particularly strong beat, urging him forward to prevent the shedding of more precious tears. Gaara disappeared from his spot in a sand shunshin and appeared next to Hinata. Hinata was lost in her emotions, failing to suppress that bitterness of rejection that was overwhelming her spirit, crushing her heart and wringing tears from her ducts. She was so lost, that she was surprised when a tender finger trailed up her cheeks and caught a tear before it could fall. Gaara held the tear up on his pointer finger, letting it glisten in the light of the desert sun. He knew Hinata well and he knew of her feelings for Naruto. Hell, Naruto had told him of her feelings as well as his reason for rejecting them. He believed that they would be better as friends than lovers. The seed that Naruto planted in Gaara's mind was finally beginning to sprout as the words came to his mouth and left his lips in a soft tone. There is no reason for a girl such as you to spill tears in a place such as this. He paused her to dry the tears off of her other cheek. I know why you cry, Hinata, and I know it is painful. Know that I am here for you, and if you promise to keep a secret, know that my heart is drawn to you. In time, my hope is that you may consider my feelings once you have processed your own. Hinata was blown away, completely dumbstruck by the affectionate actions of the usually stoic Gaara. She had always liked him as a friend, whenever she had time to spend with him during the study sessions or at the academy. She leaned into Gaara and noticed that the sand armor normally protecting him disintegrated to let her truly fall into his embrace. Thank you, Gaara. You have been a good friend and I will consider your words. Once I have processed my feelings, I will let you know. She said before moving her head upwards to let him see a soft and genuine smile on her face. That is all I could ask for, Hinaheim. Gaara whispered, completely blown away by his own display of affections. Up in Kami's realm, Kushina was snickering as Kami enacted a bit of divine intervention. Minato sighed and face-palmed himself. Kami-sama, was that necessary? Must you intervene in such matters? Minato sighed out wearily. HMPH. I am Kami and that Hyuga girl is a great girl. I support your son's decision and I do not wish to see her in pain. Kami shot back passionately. Hee, let it go, Minato. So, Kami-chan, if you intervene for this, what will you do for my son's two loves? Kushina asked with interest. Kami's energy seemed to disperse rapidly, and she tapped a finger to her chin in thought. Do you too approve of him having two loves? I know that his memories and feelings transferred over, and I admit that it has been super cute to watch, but I feel like I am doing an injustice to the women of the world. Minato shot a thumbs up at the goddess and Kushina giggled. Kami-chan, I approve. His feelings are genuine, and it is not out of lust. Let's set the limit at 2 and you can give him a divine spanking if he breaks that rule. Minato hummed in thought for a bit. What about the alter egos? They are each getting into relationships as well. Kami giggled. Oh, I know, it is so much fun to watch. The first ever person with MPD that can make clones and transform them. Kakuku, it is better than any of those old American or Korean dramas that I watched. So, you are okay with them? Minato asked hesitantly. Oh, Minato-kun, I cannot tell you how much fun I am having with this. With you two to helping me with paperwork, I even feel like dabbling. You know, my old friend Yahweh used to appear to people in dreams. Oh, yes, Kakuku. Kushina got a mischievous look on her face. Okay, Kami-chan, spill. Kami waved a playful finger in front of her face. Kushi-chan. It will be a surprise. Back in the desert, the Suna and Konoha teams had arrived at the front gates of Sunagakure. Team 8 was escorted to the Kazekige's tower alongside their new charge, Princess Kiyomi. The princess spent the better part of the journey glaring at Temari and Naruto, since the two had traveled hand in hand pretty much the whole way. After hearing her uncle talking about the blonde for years, something inside her turned possessive of the blonde, especially since he saved her and protected her modesty. Kiyomi simply didn't know how to inject herself in between the duo without coming off like a spoiled princess. Surely her uncle would back her up if she claimed him as her own, right? Shaking off those thoughts, it was far too late for her to act now that they were walking into the Kazekige's tower. Maybe she would try to get some alone time with him in the hotel. The group walked into the Kazekige's office to see Raza with his hands folded over his desk, waiting for the group and watching them enter with an analytical eye. He took in Team 8 and cracked a small smile when he locked eyes with Naruto. He watched Itachi step forward with a scroll from the Hokage. Lord Kazekige, Team 8 reporting from Konoha to deliver the invitations to the Chunin exams coming to Konoha. Also, the communication scrolls between yourself and the Hokage has been prepared. After discussing the rescue of the Wind Princess, we can get that set up. Very well, Kiyomi, it is good to see you safe. I will up our patrols of the rest stops. They seem to attract more bandits than we are used to. You have my apologies that something so egregious happened within our territory. Raza inclined his head slightly to the princess. After that, he got the report from Team 8 and agreed to pay them an A-ranked mission for rescuing the princess. Those knew we were traveling and where we would be, Lord Kazekige. They were not simply bandits. Thankfully, Lord Senju was able to make it in time before any harm befell my person or modesty. I would like to reward Lord Senju with a private dinner to demonstrate my grade, if you could arrange for that to happen. Kiyomi said in a sweet voice, completely ignoring the growl coming from Temari. Internally, she was patting herself on the back at her genius maneuver. Raza shot an apologetic look at Temari and Naruto before responding. That sounds reasonable. Will the invite be extended to the whole of Team 8? It sounds like each of them played a key role in your impromptu rescue. Kiyomi stuttered for a bit then found her solution. My father will be sure to reward them. Lord Senju was the one that prevented my attacker and comforted me afterward. I do not believe I am asking too much. Naruto gave a squeeze to Temari's hand and mouthed that he loved her. Thank you, princess, I humbly accept your invitation. What time should I pick you up tonight? Naruto just wanted to get this over with, so it wasn't hanging over Temari's head. Kiyomi blushed before she frowned. Forgive me, Naruto. I am not presentable after my journey through the desert. Why don't we schedule our date for tomorrow at 6 p.m.? Kiyomi pushed through her slip-up, despite the rise in ki from Temari. A crack appeared in Naruto's smile as Kiyomi used the word, date, knowing exactly how that would set Temari off. Unfortunately, he was the Senju heir and needed to play the political game as much as, if not more than, Temari. Very well, princess. I will pick you up from your hotel at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Kiyomi turned on her heel and began exiting the office. Lord Kazekage, thank you for your hospitality and assistance. I will be sure to put a good word in with my uncle. With that, she left the Kazekage's office with a skip in her step and Naruto's jacket. The incredibly awkward atmosphere Kiyomi left behind was broken by Kankuro, always dependable for some comedic relief. Well, sis, that's what you get for dating hero boy. Kankuro's screams and Raza's sighs filled the office for the next 5 minutes. By the time Raza was able to call Temari off, Kankuro was huddled in a corner in the fetal position with multiple bumps appearing all over his body. The Konoha team, aside from Naruto, watched the spectacle with a mortified amusement. Raza coughed to get back on track. Alright, Naruto, if you would walk me through activating the communication scroll. Itachi, your team will be hosted at the Senju extension to our mansion. The letter says you will return with the applications of the teams we will be sending. I should have that ready in 5 days after I speak with my council and Jonin sensei. Raza began, but Itachi stepped forward, implying that he had something to add. Raza inclined his head and listened. During interrogation, we found out that the thugs were led by 2 shinobi from Otogakure. Their new hidden village is being led by Orochimaru, the Snake Sannin. Have you had any dealings with him recently or has he approached you? The reason I ask is because it sounded like the kidnapping attempt was due to a prior refusal. Itachi explained calmly. No, I have not been approached. I would ask Hoto if the snake reached out to him. At the very least, it sounds like he refused him. Naruto, I will commission a couple communication scrolls for me and other nobles throughout Wind Country if this trial run with the Hokage proves effective. You only need but ask, Papa Raza. Now, my team needs a shower, badly. So, if your children could show them to the mansion, I would be more than happy to run through the communication scroll set up with you. Naruto ignored the Ed eyebrows for his nickname, but Raza merely chuckled. That night in the Kazekage mansion, Team 8 joined Raza and his family for dinner after they cleaned up. Temari was all over Naruto, constantly reminding him that they needed to talk. Thus, the two found themselves on the roof of the Kazekage mansion looking at the stars twinkling in the night sky. Temari was leaned back into Naruto's lap as the two finally got some alone time. Did you really have to accept her shameless attempt at getting a date out of you? Temari pouted for the millionth time that night. We have been over this, Mari. It will be a dinner and a walk around the village. Nothing more, nothing less. She has nothing on you, my desert lily. Naruto whispered soothingly into her ear. Gar, fine, whatever. So, when are you going to tell me everything? Temari said with a pout. Haha, nice change of topic. We can do it now, it will take about 30 minutes, and it will knock you out though. Naruto answered her, getting her to squirm with anticipation. 10 more minutes of cuddle time and then we can do it in my room. Temari snuggled deeper into Naruto's embrace and laid her head on his chest, knowing nothing more needed to be said. Naruto enjoyed his cuddle time before things would change with Temari for better or worse. They walked off the room and onto Temari's balcony before Naruto kissed Temari passionately and had her lay on the bed. His tone was full of worry and anticipation as he prepared her for the memory overload. No matter what, Mari, know that I love you and that will never change. Naruto said in between K. Temari was worried, but she knew she would have her answers now. I love you too, Ruto. Now stop freaking me out and get this over with. Naruto withdrew the last memory seal from Kami and placed it on Temari's forehead. He watched her eyes roll up back into her head and he saw them flitter as vivid and not so pleasant memories of a past long forgotten surged through her head. The twitches and eye movements stopped nearly 20 minutes later and Temari was out cold, resting comfortably on Naruto's chest. Naruto had dozed off, waiting for Temari to reawake, when she finally gasped and sat up suddenly in bed around 3 a.m. She shook this sleepiness out of Naruto and looked at him with wide eyes, not fully believing what she saw. One look into Naruto's eyes let her know that it was 100% real, and it was not a prank. Holy shit, Ruto. Kami. For real. Was how Temari opened the conversation. Yes, I failed Temari. Everyone died and the bastard Uchiha brought the end of the world with his foolish pride. Now you know why I was so set on helping Suna though. Naruto whispered back, his tone lacking the usual confidence. So, all of that was real. The war, the deaths, our love, my deaths. She said disbelievingly. Yes. Did you see anything after your death? Naruto asked. I saw you fight, I saw the end and I saw bits and pieces of you and the Yamanaka girl. After your death, I was so broken, Mari. I had lost hope, but everyone still needed me. I never stopped loving you, but I loved, and still love, Ino. Temari bit her lower lip and thought about her next response. So, how do you see this working, moving forward? She asked timidly. Naruto sighed, rubbed his eyes and sent a prayer to Kami. Would it be too much to ask you to share my heart with Ino? I swear on the Uzumaki and Senju names that I will take no other. I have tortured myself with these thoughts ever since I returned to Konoha, and my heart can't choose. To do so would destroy me, Mari. It hurt bad enough pushing aside Hinata's feelings before giving her a chance this go around. A tear fell down Temari's cheek and landed on Naruto's hand. He wiped the tears and forced the guilt down, doing everything he could to provide support to the woman he loves. Am I not enough for you? Naruto wrapped her tighter and pulled her into his chest before whispering into her ear. It is not like that, Temari. If I had no memories of my past life, I would have been more than happy to spend my life with you and you alone. I simply can't move past the past. These feelings in my heart won't go away, and if I am being honest, I don't want them to go away. I love you, Ruto. I need to think about this and process everything. She whispered while fixing her gaze on her feet. I understand. I will give you your space. Let me know when you are ready to talk. Naruto kissed her on the top of her head and left her room. He knew he wouldn't get much sleep, but he forced himself to try. He would probably end up going into the mindscape and talking it out with his family there. Temari tossed and turned all night, trying to make up for the absence of Naruto's warmth with her usual body pillow. It proved to be a pathetic substitute and she tossed and turned all night, tormented by the choice that Naruto left her with. That night, elsewhere in the elemental nations, Kami made her move, appeared in a blonde girl's bedroom, and sent some very vivid dreams to the Konoha blonde beauty that we all love. Vivid dreams and haunting memories filled her mind as she struggled to wrap her subconscious mind around the meaning of the dreams. The only thing Ino knew is that those weren't mere dreams. They were way too vivid, and she remembered them too clearly for them to be dreams. The fact that they almost always came from Naruto's perspective and the fact that they both looked older didn't escape her notice. She missed her blonde bundle of sunshine, and she knew that she would have to talk this out with him when he returned from Suna. The next day, Naruto took his team around Suna and showed them some of the improvements made to the sand village. With water came life, and with life came spirit for Sunagakure. Rather than the same, dull, sand-colored buildings, there were now a myriad of colors that the people of Suna used to express their individuality. The team marveled at the giant lake in the middle of Suna and the green park in the middle of the desert that surrounded the lake. Naruto took this opportunity to share another one of his many secrets with his teammates. He demonstrated his Mokuton bloodline by growing a big maple tree in a spot he had discussed with one of Suna's engineers earlier in the day. Then Team 8 took a dip in Suna's lake and enjoyed their time much more than they thought they would. Gaara and Kankuro joined the Konoha team, assisting Naruto as tour guides. Naruto noticed Gaara's longing looks at Hinata and he gave his brother the push needed to make a move. At the lake, Gaara worked up the nerve to ask Hinata out for a dinner date, with some prodding from Naruto. To his surprise, Hinata accepted his offer, but he was confused by the sad smile on her face. Naruto pulled him aside when they returned to the Kazekage mansion and gave him the rundown and his express approval. Their relationship would do nothing but good for the two of them and the alliance. Naruto put on some decent clothes and went on the date with Kiyomi. He indulged her a little bit but kept things strictly platonic. He didn't miss Temari's scowl when he left the compound or the fact that she was waiting up for him when he returned. He told her that he had been a perfect gentleman with Kiyomi, who was swooning over him the entire time. He made her giggle when he told her how he rebuffed Kiyomi's advances, especially when he told her how he spun out of an attempted goodnight K. There was still a definite tension between Naruto and Temari. It seemed like she hadn't come up with her answer yet, so Naruto spent the night after the date hanging out with Team 8 and the Sand Sibs. Naruto gave her a K on the cheek before retiring to his own bedroom for the night. Once again, he was condemned to tossing and turning for his perceived selfish actions. Thoughts of losing one or both of his blonde loves haunting his thoughts and staving off the Sandman's advances. Temari was in a similar state to Naruto until she cried out in frustration, threw her body pillow against the wall and stomped out of her room. She made her way silently into Naruto's room and climbed into his bed. He was still awake, but he didn't protest or ask her why she was there. He simply lifted up the covers and let her snuggle into him. Both of them found peace in the other's presence and instantly drifted off into a truly contented sleep. The next day, Raza had an unexpected, yet entirely welcome, visitor enter his office. He stopped what he was doing and immediately signaled his dust to clear the room when he saw the serious look on Naruto's face. "What's going on, my boy? It is rare to see you look so serious," Raza asked with a clear interest in his tone. Naruto took a deep breath and stiffened his posture before bowing to Raza. "Lord Kazekage, I, Naruto Senju Uzumaki, humbly request your blessing to ask Temari to marry me. I know we are young, but I am sure. Without her, my soul is incomplete and my life lacks meaning." Raza smiled and stood up to walk around his desk. "About time, kiddo. Does your grandmother know? We have discussed it, but she chose to leave it up to me. I will inform her upon my return to Konoha. Before you accept it so readily, I will tell you that I plan on taking one other wife in the future. I have explained this to Temari, and it falls under one of those things that I must ask you to trust me on." Raza paused but kept his hand on Naruto's shoulder. It wasn't strange and he was more than ready for this situation, but as always, the blonde intrigued him. And Temari is okay with that. She took a full day to think it over, but she gave me her answer last night. I swear, Papa Raza, I will never hurt your daughter. I would sooner rip my own heart out of my chest before I did so. Raza lifted Naruto's chin and looked into his eyes. I know, my boy, I know. You have my blessing. That night, Naruto took Temari out for a date on the town and broke out all the stops. He spoiled her silly and ended the night on the walls of Suna, gazing out into the clear night sky of the Suna desert. Once again, the two were cuddled up after a perfect date and they were whispering sweet nothings in between make-out sessions. Suddenly, Naruto broke the K and backed away from Temari. As she opened her eyes, she saw him down on one knee and holding a diamond ring with a beautiful golden band. Subaku no Temari, my desert lily, you now know all of my deepest and darkest secrets. If you didn't know already, you are an integral part of my soul and I want nothing more than to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you do me the honor of marrying me? Naruto said in a shaky tone. Temari froze on her knees with her hands over her mouth as her mind processed the engagement ring and her love down on one knee. A small gust of wind spurred her into action, and she blurred forward and slammed her lips into Naruto's. The K was passionate and lasted for an indefinite amount of time before Temari broke the K and whispered into his ear while hugging him tightly. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. In this life, the next and however many more it takes. Happiness spread through Naruto's body and trees began growing on the outer walls of Suna. The overflowing positive energy manifested itself through Naruto's bloodline and that particular overwatch on the Suna wall would provide shade to Suna's defenders for years to come. Naruto leaned back into the newly emerged tree truck and Temari leaned back into him. That one moment provided some desperately needed healing to Naruto as Temari's piece of his soul finished merging with the rest, leaving an unblemished and shining light in the depths of his being. In Kami's realm, a red-headed woman was running all over the place and shouting with joy. A blonde man was chasing behind her and attempted to subdue the red-headed beauty while a goddess watched on with a truly amused gaze. Congratulations, my chosen one, the ethereal whisper sped across her realm and spread a sense of peace, contentment and fulfillment. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.